So, as we mark Men's Mental Health Week, what made you decide to share your brother's story? And what do you hope people, particularly within the South Asian community, will take away from it?
Well, the purpose is from everything that I've learned and what my brother was teaching me is that with the information shared, hopefully it stops further suicides. That's the aim.
Okay. Well, before we talk about what happened, can you tell us about your brother and yourself and your relationship? When you were growing up, how were you together?
Uh, Growing up in East London, he was 5.5 years older than me, and growing up when we was kids, well, obviously when I was a kid, he was everything. He was my hero. He was the one that all of my friends looked up to as well, and everyone just wanted to be him. He was different,
Yeah.
and he we're all different, but he was special. He really was. He was. I know these are really kind words what I'm saying about him, and I never told him any of this stuff, um, but he was just too. He honestly was just. He was too good for this world. He was too good in every way, shape, or form. He was just too good.
Would you say he had time for other people? Because I remember when we spoke before, you said he always was one of those people that had time for everyone.
Yeah, he had. He made time for everyone, and it's that classic case. He never made time for himself, uh, like most of us. But you know, he was that one that everyone went to.
Hmm.
Uh, well, it was more he went to them.
Yeah,
Knowing it was like his energy just he just found out somebody needs help and he went to them.
it's amazing. Sounds like an
Mm.
amazing person. I have written some things down, so normally I don't, but um, you have issues with your memory because of what you've been through, the trauma. So you've asked me kindly just to follow a timeline. So if anyone's wondering what I'm doing, because I never do it, I'm just reading off something just to fit in with Gurja's requests. In many South Asian families, men are often expected to be strong. They're expected to carry burdens quietly and protect others from their struggles. Do you think those expectations played any role in your brother's journey?
Yes, yes, definitely. And I never knew of any of that. I
Mm.
knew of the expectations of um, the firstborn son. It's not just obviously, I can only speak for men, but I do know in certain cases that it's generally just the firstborn,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
firstborn son within our culture. That's yeah. As I said, I didn't realise how bad it was, the pressure, the expectations, until they landed on me.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
not just in our culture, it's in other cultures extended, but we're talking about our culture because we're from the South Asian community. So, yes, I know other cultures will resonate with what we're saying, but we're sort of just coming from our perspective. Um, you've spoken about grief and guilt quite a few times after your brother passed and the impact of his death. Um, and the questions survivors are often left with are why? What, how did you feel, when I mean, we won't go into it too much, but you discovered his body. You weren't the first, you told me this. It was your wife. But when you both discovered your brother's body, how did you particularly feel? What went through your mind and what have you felt since he's gone?
Well, on the day we found him, uh, as you know, we're both looking for him. My wife got to him 3 seconds before I got to him, and it was her screams that alerted me.
Yeah.
Uh, Everything was automatic. I didn't blink. I knew exactly what I had to do, and and I did everything. And obviously, in my line of work as well, we've been trained for that as well. and but you know, obviously, never knew I'd ever had to use it.
No.
So at the time, my wife as well. Neither one of us. There was no panic. There was no panic. We did everything, everything that we needed to do, and but we was just. I was too late.
Mm. Did you call the services or
Yeah,
did you try to? Yeah, that's what you did.
yeah.
I mean, in our conversations, you've spoke about guilt a lot, about ego, about hindsight. Um, when it comes to men's mental health, I think a lot of people have a lot of regrets when they lose a close relative or close friend. What do you think you wish you knew now that you could have known then? Because we've had this conversation about you didn't hear what he was telling you.
I wish I'd listened.
Mm,
I wish I'd listened because I could hear him, but I wasn't listening. And I think I've mentioned it before, and knowledge and ego are directly related.
yeah.
And I I believed I had more knowledge than ego, but I didn't. Yeah, my ego overshadowed my knowledge, and that all. I'm not making excuses, uh, but that was the way we were then, and now I'm
When you
trying.
say we were, do you mean the relationship between you and your brother?
Yes,
Do you
yeah.
think most men have this relationship with people around them?
I think so, and that's what needs to change.
Mm,
As I said before, look what I had to lose to learn anything.
mm,
He, that was it really. I just wasn't listening. I wasn't listening, and it was really difficult between men. Really, really difficult. Trying to open up because from our childhood, once once I became a teenager, and then got into my 20s, the distance started between us. Then
mm.
now I was fully grown, and yeah, and that was it. We just distance just came between us.
Do you think you made enough time for each other?
No,
Yeah. I
no,
mean, that's the massive message, isn't it, to anybody to make time for the people that
yeah,
you care
I,
about.
I, I didn't make time.
Mm,
I, I, I didn't make time for him. He was making time.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I spent more time. I spent more time away. Yeah.
I mean, some men turn to alcohol, to drugs, when they're struggling, not just men, obviously, but we're talking about men right now.
Hmm.
From your experience, how can those sort of behaviors be a sign or something that's indicating to others around them that something deeper going on with mental health?
Well, you, you got to look at what we blame the substances, but why are they turning to them?
Mm,
What? Because their bodies needs peace. They're looking for relief,
yeah.
and unfortunately, that's what he did as well. But he didn't have a drink problem.
No.
He actually, he didn't like drinking at all,
Mm.
like it at all. But then he was drinking copious amounts as well, numb the thoughts in his head.
When he would get drunk, you told me that he would say things to you and you didn't
Yeah.
necessarily listen to those. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
He'd tell me what's going on. He'd tell me what was going on, the thoughts that he was having.
What was going on for those people who obviously don't know the story, for someone who's listening that might this might help them to hear what their loved one is not saying.
Life just wasn't turning out the way I guess he'd expected. He was he was really, really nice. He
Yeah.
was too nice. And because of who he was and the way he looked, I couldn't accept that he was going through that because he had everything. He was really, really good looking man.
Mm,
And um, he had the body of a Greek god.
mm,
He was, he was an absolute athlete. Um, and he was just too much man.
mm,
He was just absolutely too much. And yeah, and he was a mesomorph body type, which is very, very rare in brown people. And I couldn't accept it.
Did he not say to you that you felt alone?
He did. He did. And
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think it's a lot more to do with the pressure that he was under, being the firstborn. See, I never saw what he was actually doing because everything just got done, and it was him that was doing it.
Yeah.
Everything.
A lot of people won't get it. I would love to extend on the alone bit, and I'd love to extend on the pressure. Because I've had a conversation with you before, I totally get it, and I know what men from our culture are expected to do, the expectations. But for someone who's not from our culture, that's not lived a life like ours or understands this dynamic, can you explain what a firstborn male is expected to do by the parents and the extended family? What responsibility lies on their heads?
Everything.
Extend on everything. Like,
Everything.
would you say pay the bills,
Yes, yes, yeah,
look
yeah.
after the parents?
Try all of that, and all of the above. And it's a pattern. It's a generational pattern that keeps getting passed down. I saw it. I saw it with my dad,
Hmm.
and you know, and my brother had taken on that role, and all he ever wanted to do was, we got to retire our parents, we've got to look after our sister, and and everything, everything. It was just it's too much.
Hmm.
What we should have done, obviously, everything is now should have, would have, could have.
Yeah.
Uh, he should have shared the burden with me, but he didn't. He didn't ask me to do anything, and I didn't know what to do either.
Hmm.
So we should have been sharing those responsibilities, and I don't know. He kept me away from all of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a certain thing in our culture, isn't there, where you don't talk about things and you don't talk about the struggles, you don't talk about, you just get on with it because we're kind of taught just to get on with it.
yeah.
Um, but when he said he felt alone, obviously you're both drinking, so you're probably intoxicated as well. But
Mm.
did you go away from that and remember he'd said it? Because you remember it now. So I'm wondering whether the next day you remembered he'd said he felt lonely and how you felt, or if you just dismissed it because you thought it was nothing, or
I I did. I dismissed it. I dismissed it. It was a story that I'd heard too often. And when I did ask him, look, we need to have this conversation when you're sober, and he said, no, I can't talk to you when I'm sober.
hmm.
So he knew as well.
A lot of inhibitions are, gone, aren't they, when you've had a drink and you're more relaxed and it's that inner thought that just comes forward without thinking of the
Well,
consequences.
well, by then, I'd stopped drinking. So I'd stopped drinking a while ago.
Okay.
Uh, you know, alcohol's. I don't know any family, within our culture where alcohol's really a good thing.
Mm.
I do know a handful of people that they enjoy themselves and they can control it, but
Yeah.
we were power drinkers.
Mm.
So
It is
and then,
very much part of the culture.
yeah, and then by then he probably saw me as a reformed drinker. You know, I don't want to throw that word alcoholic out there because everyone uses that
Mm.
you know, too casually nowadays.
How do you think your relationship with family, friends, partners, wider community can either support or silence men that are struggling emotionally.
Well, the way they silence it is they ignore it.
Mm.
They ignore it, and it's that case of nobody really cares until it happens to them.
Yeah, that's a
And
fact.
yeah, and that's the message I'm trying to get out there. Don't wait for something to happen. These are the signs. And so, we'll never know the lives that have been saved.
Mm.
Yeah.
How would you say that you felt losing him? How did it affect your mental health? How did it affect your lifestyle? How did it affect your life?
Can't really put it, I don't know the best way to put it into words, but the devastation is astronomical. It's life back then is is completely upside down now, completely. And we're not the same as a family. We're not the same. We can't. We've become really good at surviving,
Mm.
and in that survival, I believe that we've all stopped living, but we have to carry on,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And the void is, we can, I can't accept it.
Do you
I
think he would have thought this would be the effect of him leaving?
No, he did. Had he had known any of this,
Mm.
had he had known any of this, there's no way
Mm.
because he was the protector.
Mm.
He wasn't just a provider. But like most men, and I've witnessed this as well, he'd become a punch bag and a paycheck.
Mm.
And that's probably how he felt. And I do my own research as well, and I'm the evidence of most of my research. So I understand all of that side of it
Mm.
as well. Had he had known that he'd leave us in this world without his protection,
Mm.
no way.
If someone's out there thinking of taking their life right now because they can't talk about it, they don't want to talk about it, and it's really, really hard to ask for help, I'm going to be honest, and I've said it before. What message do you want to give to them as a survivor of having lost somebody?
You've you've got to carry on. You've got to carry on because they didn't know this side of it, and that's the message we've got to get out there.
Mm.
That had people known, uh, we've we've created actually a pathway for suicide by our words, and our words are weapons. And I hear it every day as well, where they're blaming the sufferer for suffering.
Mm.
So the sufferer believes that they're the problem.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So if the problem goes away, then
Yeah.
there's no there's no burden left.
No, definitely. And I've heard that time and time again.
Yeah,
But if there is anybody out there listening that is thinking, the world would be better off without them, I would say you matter.
yeah,
And it's not as impossible to find a solution as you think. Sometimes speaking about it with a stranger, there are lots of helplines if you can't speak to a relative, or if you've got somebody, like Gerge that is willing to listen, then, speak about it. And you don't have to have a conversation, you can just release what's in your mind. Sometimes we just need to listen without answering back. And a lot of us in conversation have forgotten that sometimes somebody just wants to offlay and get rid of that from within and they'll feel better. As I say, a problem shared is a problem halved.
yeah.
Um, I would say to you, you've said that you are pretty sure your brother wouldn't expect the impact that he left behind, but was there a calmness, as I spoke to you about this before? I remember when I decided when I was young and I wanted to kill myself that I had this real calmness just before I committed suicide, well, tried to commit suicide by taking an overdose. And the whole reason I'm doing this whole interviews is because one of my best friends has lost his brother. And the day before he committed suicide, he rang everybody, everyone in the family that was close to him, just to say goodbye because he had that calmness within his voice, which he never normally had. Did you see those signs with your brother?
I I didn't see those signs, but he left some notes.
Could you talk about the notes?
Well, he left a couple of notes, and one was there was a paragraph in all of them for each of us, and how he told us how sorry he was
Yeah.
for leaving, but and he was blaming himself that it was all his fault, and how much he loved us. And the other note was for the organ donation team.
Mm. Yeah, because we had a discussion that we won't go into now, but
Yeah,
he preserved his organs to donate them. So we'd obviously thought this through. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. He'd thought about it, not just on the spur. It's not like a right, I'm going to do this now. It's something he had led up to, isn't it?
I think after the investigation and everything we learned through the investigation.
When you say investigation, you mean the coroner's report, and
Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
do, yeah.
yeah. So and he'd been he'd been planning it.
Mm,
Just on this day, the timing was right. That's it. Everything kind of aligned for him
mm.
on this day. No one was about, and so you know he did what he did.
Do you carry a lot of the sadness still with you, would you say?
Yeah,
Do you think that'll ever go away?
no, no.
What's it like for you on his birthday or Christmases or, our cultural celebrations when we have Vaisakhi or we have Diwali? What's it like for you in your home now?
It's difficult, but we've all become great actors,
Hmm.
and now I I don't avoid going to functions,
Mm.
but I know the awkwardness around me, and I try my hardest.
Can
Uh,
we talk about that awkwardness?
so I'm known. I was known. They'd given me a title. They called me the suicide guy.
Hmm. Is
Yeah,
that the people in the community and family
yeah.
and friends? Yeah.
There was some people in the community that thought that would shut me up, but I used it in my favour.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I heard it all. They never said it to my face. Here he comes. He couldn't save his own brother, but yet he's come to lecture everyone else. He's standing on stages lecturing
Hmm.
everyone else.
The community don't like anybody speaking out anyway, but there is a lot of shame, is it, and stigma about speaking out. Did you face that, or do you face that?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I saw it all. No one really said anything to my face. But I'm not paranoid. You,
Mm.
you see it, it, and it is very awkward. Not for me, but it makes it awkward for them.
Do you think
Uh,
it's awkward because people don't know what to say?
that's exactly. Had it not happened to me, I would have been that person as well.
Mm.
So I understand the awkwardness.
You
Uh,
said had this not happened to me, I would have been that person as well. Can
yeah.
you extend on that?
Well, the person, the person
Mm.
I was the one that didn't listen.
Right.
I was, and when he wanted to talk to me, instead of me listening, because
Mm.
he just wanted to be heard, instead of me listening, I'm giving him advice. He didn't want advice.
Mm.
I'm giving him solutions.
Mm.
I'm not a doctor, but
No.
yet we automatically become doctors, and we automatically become these mental health professionals, right? Because I wasn't going through it,
Mm.
understand it.
I think
So
I think that's so important that you've said that, holding space for somebody without giving a solution or comparison or saying, well, when I felt this way, just actually just sitting and listening to them, really listening to what they're saying is a gift that a lot of people don't give to one another.
yeah, and
Do you think
now,
that would have made a difference?
of course,
Could have?
100%.
Mm,
Yeah, that would have made a difference. But as I said, you know, I'm my my friends and the people, the environment, the
mm,
culture, I think everyone I was around, they are still actually those people.
yeah. Well, they've not had the experience because pain changes you.
Well, I'm trying to educate them, but you can only teach somebody who wants to learn. And to solve a community problem, the community has to show up. So it's, an uneducated an uneducated community is the easiest thing to fool, and they're just following each other, burying their heads in the sand. And
If there's somebody, a man from our culture, the South Asian community, right now listening to this, and he's burdened with shame and dishonor and the whole stigma of it, what would you say to him?
I say everyone's going through something.
Hmm.
Don't get don't be too invested in other people's opinions. They don't matter.
Hmm.
They really don't matter. Everyone's always got something to say. Like if you look at the pattern, we blame the person for suffering. We create that pathway for them. The decision they make, they don't make it alone. We've all contributed to it because they're collecting data, right, to validate and justify what they're about to do. And then once they've gone, now we're still blaming them for going. So we're blaming them both sides of life and death. When they're alive, we're blaming them, and once they've gone, we're still blaming them. But what's left behind, the devastation is astronomical, and that person, the message we want to get out there is what gets left behind is so devastating. The family will never recover from it.
Hmm.
It's in survival mode forever. The problem we have is we're not communicating, we're not understanding, and we're not telling each other what we mean to each other. I never told him any of that,
Hmm.
right? And it's only when they've gone do you realize how much love we had to give,
Yeah.
all that grief and that love.
What would you say to those very families that are not seeing that their loved one is suffering? What would you say to them? Or are even ignoring it because they think it's not important, that they look fine, he'll be all right, he's always saying a few things, but he's fine.
Well, it's that's your blood and it's irreplaceable,
Hmm.
right? Don't and stop worrying about other people's opinions and the community and the culture and
Yeah.
the shame, blame, and all of that. Because once it, you know, God forbid, once they've left, that's when you're going to find out that everything didn't mean nothing.
Hmm.
All this it didn't mean nothing, and no one's going to be there for you because how can they be? It's not their journey; it's yours.
Hmm. Did you get a lot of support though from family, friends, and communities? Did they come around and support you?
Oh yeah, yeah, we did.
Hmm.
Friends, relatives. His funeral. It was like a rock star's funeral. It was roadblocked. There were so many people because everyone loved him
Yeah.
and the story behind it.
Hmm.
Uh, but once the dust settles,
Yeah, you're very much alone
yeah,
anyway. That happens in a lot of grieving processes. People tend to disappear, and you need them after the math of the
yeah.
funeral and that. Yeah. Can I
And
ask a question, quite a personal question, Gerge? When you have your down days, what do you do? Who's there for you? Do you ask for help? Are you that person that now can speak and converse and talk about your feelings, or are you quite closed because you also feel the burden of sorting things out and being the protector, the provider? Now you've taken the role of your brother.
yeah, I uh, I escape. I escape in my work.
Hmm.
I escape in my work. I escape. I go to the gym. Lucky I've got 24-hour gym, so I, I do I do everything to keep myself busy.
Hmm.
Everything to keep myself busy. But you're right. I I haven't said nothing to anyone. Yeah. Uh, on the odd occasion, on the odd occasion, uh, I've told my story to people, but feeling we just got to get on with it now.
Why won't you, if you're having a down day, why won't you talk to somebody about it?
I don't want to. I, I, I,
Why?
I really don't want to. I'd rather listen to them now.
No, but why? Why would you rather sit in your feelings, your heavy feelings? Why would you rather keep that on your chest? Why would you rather carry that weight? Because we're talking about others to come forward, and you're wanting them to come forward because you've lost your brother and you've hurt and you don't want anybody else to hurt. You don't want the family to be left behind because there's a catastrophic effect that's left, when someone leaves you. But why won't you, as a person who's advocating for change? Why won't you ask for help? It's important for people to listen because they're going to really resonate with you.
Yeah. So right now, um, I'm 4.5 years into this journey.
Hmm.
I'm still discovering
Hmm.
who I am now. I'm not that person who I
Hmm.
was for 47 years.
Yeah.
So I'm, and it's the guilt as well that I didn't listen to him. So
Yeah.
how dare I go ask for help for myself?
Well, we spoke about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah,
And you said
yeah.
that I feel from an outside perspective, I can see that you're carrying a lot of guilt and it's not your fault. But I can't tell you how to feel, and I never would do that. It's not my place. But his journey was his journey, and your journey is your own. And we can only do what we can do. There's not much more we can do. We can't get into people's minds. We don't know what they're thinking. But I know I personally do everything I possibly can to make somebody else feel better. But if I'm not feeling well, I do also have a way to get help, and I will ask for help, or I will talk about it, or I'll journal. And I think that's really important for you, to understand that you've got to this far with your journey of talking about it, which is great. But also, when you're at your best possible form, and we talked about self love, then that's all you have to give to everyone. That's the only energy you can pass on. There's no low energy or heavy energy. There's just pure love, forgiveness. And I think you need to forgive yourself. I said this last time. I think a lot of men out there, listen to me now, need to forgive yourselves. You've done your best, you've done all that you can, and we don't have control. You didn't have control.
So I understand what you mean about the forgiveness, and I'm still working on how to get that message out there. But the thing with a suicide is, and this is another thing that gets left behind.
Mm,
So if there's anyone out there, God forbid, they're contemplating it, you need to listen to this. The guilt won't allow us that, and we hold on to the pain because that's the last memory that we've got of them.
yeah.
And so we need that as well. And it's all guilt really. And right now, as I said, 4.5 years in, uh, I've really been working on that, and I've really been balancing things now. Be-
Mm,
Before I was really angry. I
mm.
was really angry, but it was an internal anger, and it's guilt as well, and that's all it is. It's just guilt. Should have, would have, could have, but I didn't, and that's the reality.
I think you need to understand there is a process to grieving, and it's one of the
Yeah,
hardest things we go through
yeah.
grieving. There's the disbelief, there's the it can't be so, and there's anger that I wanted to do this with you, I wanted to tell you, why didn't you ask for help? And then you go through these different stages until you actually get to the point of acceptance and letting go. And letting go doesn't mean you've let that person go because they live within you. They're in you,
Mm.
they're around you. Their love is constantly, reminders of them are constantly everywhere. But it's remembering those times as opposed to, like you're saying, your last memory is what is shrouding and covering and completely almost erasing some of the other memories you have of him because it hurts. It's actually painful, and that comes through. Um, what would you say to the families that might not realize that their actions are affecting somebody? Like maybe children are affecting their father, or mothers are affecting their sons, or brothers are affecting their brothers. What would you say to them about their actions?
I say, especially for brothers as siblings, you're both you're men.
Mm,
You know the culture. You're in the same environment. You are the closest that you could be to anyone. You are part of each other.
yeah,
So you need to have a better relationship.
yeah.
You really need to, because you know everything about each other.
Mm,
And, uh, and I think I said it to you before, and I heard it a lot as well. Uh,
mm.
me being me being his brother,
Mm,
knowing him, knowing the culture. knowing the environment, everything. I was my actions, lack of actions, uh, contributed the most to him leaving. And I understand how it sounds.
Mm.
I understand how it sounds, but you can only tell the truth, and that and that is the truth.
And I
And
want everyone to listen, not to jump on this and say, well, don't blame yourself, because if that's your truth, that's your truth. Nobody can tell you how to perceive it. It's all, we spoke about perception last time. So
mm,
I respect what you're saying, and I respect those are your feelings, and that is your truth.
yeah, and now, as I said, I'm on this journey, and I want to get the real message out there. And there's no way that he would have wanted me to feel like this either, but he didn't know this side of it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was going to be left behind.
No.
So I also got to. I get it. I've I've got to live, and for all the good things that he wanted for us. But then it's that guilt again, because suicide. I don't want to lessen anybody else's death, how they've gone, but suicide is it's unacceptable, because it's such a waste of a life. But there's too much information out there that's just overloading us, and it's all wrong. It's all wrong. I think I said this before as well. How shocked were we, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, when we heard of a suicide, and now we are normalizing it.
Yeah, it's a word that's thrown around very easily, and
Yeah.
I think the suicide ideation from younger people, they see it as a way out, an exit plan,
Mm,
whereas there are other ways that they can resolve whatever it is they're feeling, and everybody's feelings matter, they really do. For
mm,
the young men, whilst we've touched on that, we spoke about this last time, I feel that young men now are very desensitized. Everything's done electronically. There's no connection. What would you say to those young men watching or listening, that if they're feeling a certain way of maybe not being good enough or not fitting into a criteria, or they can't say that to their dads because they don't have that relationship of actually having a conversation, or don't have a brother, maybe they're the only child, or maybe they have sisters. What would you say to that young person?
well, look at where this information is coming from. Yeah, really be mindful of where this information is coming from, why you're feeling the way you are, who's making you feel the way you are, and that relationship uh, with say your parents. Remember that they're a generation above you. They've already lived your years, but they lived them when the world was different. So their childhood, when they were your age, the world was completely different, and that's the communication and the understanding that all generations need to really learn.
Yeah.
Why are we the way we are? But for young men, you need to get socializing again. We need to get back to. There's one thing that worked for when uh, when I was a young man, was we our childhoods were before the internet, so we had total freedom there. And now you've got everything at your fingertips, and you're not really learning anything. You're not discovering anything. You're not having any adventures. You're not socializing anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Even to go to the gym, movement's so good for mental health. Even to go for a little walk or hang
Hmm.
out with your friends and have a football, kick around. It doesn't have to be professional. But if
Yeah,
you haven't really got those sort of people around you, then go to the gym. Like you said, you talk to people. I was speaking to somebody else the other day, and they said, "Oh, I made a bit of a gym buddy," and he was telling me how he wanted to, come into them using the machine, and then he said, "Can you spot me?" And before they know it, they were having this conversation, encouraging each other. And he said, we actually worked a lot better because we had one another to push ourselves. And those conversations are priceless. That's that encouragement. It makes you feel good about yourself, and you've had this interaction. So you've got to get out and put yourselves out there. And it's hard sometimes, especially not everyone's as extroverted. Some people are introverted. They don't want to really go out and talk to people, but you don't have to, because when you're surrounded by positive people that are trying to make an active change in their bodies and their minds, it does affect you. So remember who you're hanging around with is really important too.
that's right. That's right. Because everybody's going through something. Everyone's got something going on, and you will connect with other people. You
Mm.
You know, your energy, it will draw other people towards you,
Mm.
right? And you're not alone. You just got to remember that you're not alone. Every answer you're looking for about yourself is internal.
Yeah.
And but the problem is all the information that's coming external. There's
Yeah.
too much information out there that you don't need.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of people in the community, I'm sure, maybe even out of our community, probably look at you and say, they call you the suicide guy, and they're like, why is he talking about it? Why can't he just leave it now?
Mm.
Why are you talking about it? What does it mean to you to actually have this conversation? What are you hoping that this type of conversation, what the outcomes would be?
Well, the purpose is I can't have let him die for nothing. This is what we've learned, and I won't be silenced because there's going to be another one and another one and another one, and the same people are going to keep shrugging their shoulders, and the pattern's going to get worse and worse and worse because it's growing. It's not getting any better,
Mm.
right? And the same people are going to be blaming the person for ending themselves, and another family is going to get ruined, and that family will then they'll be remembered for that one thing, and it'll be generational as well.
Mm.
So, God forbid, anyone's contemplating suicide again, as we said before, you need to know what this side of it. Had he'd known this side of it, there's no way he would have went. Because
No.
remember, your family will be left alone in this world without your protection, and that's got to hit home. That really has got to hit home because I've witnessed everything. I've seen. I wish I'd never learned any of this because I wish it never happened. But unfortunately, everyone did reveal themselves as well. You know, you're
What
alone.
what else would you like to say about this whole experience that you've had?
So stick together. Really enjoy each other's company. You are irreplaceable. The void, you're going to have to carry that forever. And that grief, all of that love, it's got nowhere to go. So on this journey, I don't want nobody else to have this journey.
Mm.
And when I was asked before, when I was before when I was a lot more angry, I remember some people saying to me, "But where's the hope?" I go, "If you're looking for hope from me, I hope it doesn't happen to you."
Mm.
Right. So after a suicide, it's unacceptable.
Mm.
I can't accept it. I I didn't accept it, but now I have to accept that it happened because it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, suicide is permanent. It's not the answer. It's not the answer. It's permanent for what could have been a temporary condition or a treatable condition. You have to choose life. This is an incredible opportunity that we've got, and nobody else can live this your life but you. Nobody knows how you feel but you, yeah? And you can't be a passenger. You're the driver of your life, and remember, you're not alone. You're not alone. And yes, you're different. Every one of us is different. We're all unique, but you're not alone in how you're feeling. But there's just too much information out there that's making you feel worse, and that's the problem. But suicide, I hear it all the time. Suicide is the biggest killer in men. It's not. Suicide is a way of death. The cause is sadness, and the sadness has many branches: depression, anxiety, etc. Yeah, but who is the real killer? The real killer is society itself.
Mm.
We've kind of been brainwashed into making this, normalizing this, and don't accept it. Don't accept it. We don't want no more suicides. I don't want another family to go through what we're going through.
Yeah.
And this is us now. We're just, we're just getting used to. That's all we're doing. We're just getting used to knowing he's not around anymore. And I really don't want this to happen to anyone.
Mm.
It's not about me. it's about a life lost that shouldn't have, could have been prevented. Obviously, I didn't prevent it.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. As we've said before, I don't think it was down to you, but I think there's some really powerful messages that you've said there, and I just want to thank you and I want to honor your brother. And this is going to go out on Mental Health Awareness Week for men because, as I said, it's really important. And if there is anybody listening, know, like Gerd said, you are not alone. And you know what? I've been through a lot in my life, and I'm not making it about me, but now I'm living an amazing life because life is a gift and it's beautiful. And having that difficult conversation with the ones that you love right now is going to be something you're going to probably be grateful for because you won't be in the position that Gurge is now. If he could go back in time, like you said, hindsight is a beautiful thing, and have that difficult conversation and make a change because one conversation can actually, like you said, save a life. And I believe that too. Thank you so much again for sharing your journey with us and everything about your personal life with your brother. And I respect your family and his children and his wife for allowing you to speak to me today. Thank you.
Thank you.